The air you're breathing is 78% nitrogen. That's not an accident of nature. It's a planetary safety feature. And removing that single safety feature would trigger a global catastrophe almost instantly. In fact, you'd have about 3 minutes to enjoy the view before the entire planet tried to kill you. Let's start with the first breath. We'll follow my friend Beatrix, an accountant who at this precise moment is simply trying to enjoy a lukewarm cup of tea by her apartment window. She inhales. The air feels thick, heavy. It's because it is. Oxygen is about 10% denser than nitrogen, so the total mass of the atmosphere just increased, and air pressure at sea level has jumped. Her eardrums pop. It's a minor inconvenience, the first of many. But inside her lungs, it's not inconvenient. It's catastrophic. Our bodies are exquisitely tuned for an atmosphere that is, let's be honest, mostly filler. That 78% nitrogen we breathe in and right back out? It's the universe's packing foam. It's there to buffer the main event, that 21% slice of oxygen. Without it, the pure O2 flooding Beatrix's alveoli is not a life-giving gas. It's a poison, a highly corrosive one. This is called hyperoxia, or oxygen toxicity. Highly reactive oxygen atoms, called free radicals, begin tearing through her lung tissue like microscopic piranhas. They rip electrons from cell membranes, proteins, and DNA. It's the biological equivalent of flash rusting. Her lungs, designed for a gentle chemical exchange, are being scoured clean on a molecular level. Within a minute, she'd feel a burning sensation, a desperate hacking cough, but there's no relief. Every subsequent breath only adds more fuel to the fire, literally consuming her from the inside. Her brain isn't faring much better. The central nervous system, overstimulated by the oxygen-rich blood, starts to short-circuit. She'd experience tunnel vision, nausea, and uncontrollable muscle twitching. Then, the grand finale, a seizure. It's a complete system overload. Beatrix, clutching her chest, falls away from the window, her teacup shattering on the floor. But honestly, Beatrix's personal biological crisis is about to become the least of her concerns, because the planet is now a bomb, and someone, somewhere, has just lit the fuse. Minute 1, the Great Conflagration. You see, combustion or burning is just rapid oxidation, and we live on a planet absolutely packed with things that are just waiting for an excuse to oxidize. In our normal air, you have to work to start a fire. You need kindling, you need heat, you need to convince the fuel to react with that relatively sparse 21% of oxygen. But in a 100% oxygen atmosphere, there's no convincing necessary. Everything wants to burn. The flashpoint of every flammable object on Earth has just plummeted. Wood, paper, gasoline, hair, cotton shirts, rubber tires, cooking oil, even things we consider non-flammable are now on the menu. The first spark could come from anywhere. A lightning strike over the Amazon, a car engine backfiring in Tokyo, a stray bit of static electricity from someone taking off a wool sweater in Chicago. Whatever it is, the result is the same. It's not a fire, it's a detonation. The air itself becomes a participant in the explosion. The energy released is so immense that it doesn't just spread, it propagates as a shock wave of incandescent fury. Let's say it was that backfiring car in Tokyo. The fuel vapor in the air ignites, which ignites the car, which ignites the asphalt street, which ignites the building next to it. The fire spreads not in meters per second, but in kilometers per second. It's a wave of pure thermal energy sweeping across the landscape. Beatrix, recovering from her seizure, would look out her shattered window to see not a fire on the horizon, but the horizon itself on fire. The sky would be turning a terrifying, brilliant white-orange. It's the color of a star brought down to Earth. Hour 1, the firestorm. By the end of the first hour, human civilization is a memory. Every forest on the planet is a pillar of fire, releasing more energy than 1,000 nuclear arsenals. The Amazon, the Congo, the great boreal forests of Siberia, they are all gone, vaporized in a planetary scale inferno that reaches the upper stratosphere. The sheer heat from this global firestorm begins to do truly strange things. Concrete, which we think of as fireproof, is not. The water trapped inside its crystalline structure turns to steam and expands violently, causing it to spall and explode. Our cities, our great monuments of stone and steel, begin to crumble and melt, and yes, steel burns. In a pure oxygen environment, a steel support beam burns with the ferocity of a magnesium flare. The girders of skyscrapers would sag, twist, and then ignite, raining molten metal onto the streets below. From space, our planet would look horrifyingly beautiful. The blue marble would be gone. In its place, a glowing, furious ember, wreathed in a self-perpetuating global fire. The line between night and day would vanish, erased by the uniform planetary glow of its own self-immolation. Beatrix somehow has found shelter in a deep subway station. The air is thick, hot, and tastes of ash and ozone. Above her, the world she knew has been scoured away. She might be thinking about survival, about what comes next. But the really mundane thought that pops into her head is that the hard copies of all her client files for the fiscal year, stored in what she believed was a fire-resistant safe, have undoubtedly been reduced to a puff of carbon dioxide. The audit, she thinks with a shudder, is going to be an absolute nightmare. Day 3, the new sky. After 3 days, the worst of the fire is over, mainly because there's very little left on the surface to burn. The atmosphere has undergone a radical transformation. A significant portion of the oxygen has been converted into carbon dioxide and water vapor from the combustion of trillions of tons of organic matter, forests, fields, cities, people. The sky is no longer blue or even orange. It is black. A thick, greasy blanket of soot and ash hangs in the stratosphere, blocking out the sun completely. A deep, perpetual twilight falls over the surface of the planet, and then it begins to rain. Not a cleansing rain, but a black, acidic downpour as the massive amounts of water vapor and pollutants in the atmosphere condense and fall. The rain brings the soot down, coating the charred, skeletal landscape in a layer of oily black sludge. And what about the oceans? They've had their own special kind of apocalypse. The massive increase in atmospheric pressure would have forced huge amounts of oxygen to dissolve into the surface water. This is as devastating for marine life as it was for land animals. Fish, whales, even plankton would die from the same hyperoxia that afflicted Beatrix. The oceans would become a vast, sterile graveyard. The heat from the global firestorm would have also raised surface temperatures dramatically, turning coastal waters into a rolling boil in some places, further devastating any life that survived the oxygen poisoning. The silence would be the most profound change. No bird song, no buzz of insects, no distant hum of traffic. Just the hiss of the black rain and the sigh of the wind over a dead, sterilized world. Beatrix, if she were to emerge from her shelter, would step out onto a planet that feels utterly alien. It looks more like Venus than Earth. Year 100, the Age of Rust. Let's fast forward. Assuming a handful of humans like Beatrix survived in deep, isolated shelters, the world they inherit is one of slow, inexorable decay. The dominant chemical process on Earth is no longer biology, but oxidation, rust. The atmosphere is still oxygen-rich, though less so than at the start. Every exposed surface of iron on the planet has been rapidly corroding for a century. The haunting skeletons of our cities, the bridges, the cars, the railways, they haven't just rusted, they've crumbled into vast dunes of reddish-brown dust. The entire planet is blushing a deep Martian red. This process extends even to the rocks themselves. Iron-rich geological formations that would normally take millions of years to weather are being eaten away in centuries. Planetary geologists, assuming any were left and weren't buried under a mountain of oxidized iron, would have a field day mapping the unprecedented rates of planetary-scale corrosion. Life would be difficult. The soil has been sterilized. The oceans are barren. The air is still dangerously rich in oxygen. Photosynthesis, the foundation of almost all life, would be a problem. Plants also suffer from oxygen toxicity. Any attempt to regrow Earth's biosphere would have to take place in carefully controlled, nitrogen-rich domes. Humanity would be reduced to the role of planetary gardeners, trying to coax life back into existence on a world that had become fundamentally hostile to it. So what's the takeaway from our little planetary bonfire? It's a profound appreciation for the boring, for the 78% of the air that does absolutely nothing. That colorless, odorless, wonderfully stable gas, nitrogen, isn't just filler. It's our planet's great moderator. It's the bouncer at the chemical nightclub that keeps the rowdy oxygen molecules from starting a fight with everyone. It slows down the burning. It pads out the pressure. It makes the world gentle enough for the delicate, complicated machinery of life to exist. Our atmosphere isn't just a random collection of gases, it's a 4-billion-year-old truce, a negotiated settlement between the explosive potential of chemistry and the fragile persistence of biology. That 21% of oxygen is the perfect compromise, a planetary Goldilocks zone, enough to power a metabolism but not enough to incinerate the planet. The universe isn't actively trying to kill us, it's just incredibly specific about its safety regulations. And we happen to live in the one corner of the building that, for now, hasn't violated the fire code. So next time you take a deep, satisfying breath, be thankful, not just for the oxygen, but for all the magnificent nothing that comes with it.